Now that we've gone through our account classification, so we went over the different types of assets, the different types of liabilities, the different types of owner's equity, or if we're a corporation, we're going to call this shareholders' equity. And then we looked at our revenues and expenses. And now in accounting, we're getting ready to do the first thing that we need to do, which is journalizing. So before we can do that, we just got to learn these rules, okay? So if you do the account classification like this, and just remember this acronym, I guess ALOR. That's going to help you decide whether or not we need to debit or we need to credit these types of accounts, okay? So when I say debit and credit, it's like I say le and la if we're taking French. It's just that way just because. So the debit, all that means is everything on the left. And the credit, all that means is everything on the right. And so what we have to make sure is everything on the left equals everything on the right. Now, the reason why I said to set this classification system up using ALOR is because if you just take the first one and the last one, so those are your assets and your expenses, whenever we try to increase an asset, we debit it, okay? And then that means we just do the opposite to the opposite side. So whenever we try and decrease or bring an asset balance down, we credit that. And then the same thing, whenever we try to decrease an expense item down, we credit it. And then whenever we try and increase an expense balance, we debit it, okay? So once you have those two rules, then you can just fill in the rest of the matrix and then have everything else go opposite. So on the debit side, the assets and the expenses are the only ones that go up, and then the rest of them go down. And then on the credit side, because these go down, it means that to credit it, they must go up, okay? So I'll give you an example with liabilities. If I'm trying to bring a liability balance up, then I have to credit that. And if I'm trying to bring the liabilities balance down, I have to debit that, okay? So if I didn't have this right in front of me, this is what I probably would have done. I would have done A-L-O-R-E, and then I have my debit and my credit. And so the first thing I do is do an arrow for assets and expenses. So those are the ones that go up. And then I know everything else goes down on the debit side. And then all I have to do is do the opposite. So the credit one goes down on an asset, and then they go up on liabilities, owner's equity, and revenue, and then it goes down on the expense. So that's just a quick way to memorize which way our debits and credits are going. And so now, once we understand this, we are ready to journalize.